Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our gaming TV, where we are gaming. And today we're going to be talking about Destiny Child. Specifically, we're going to be making this video to go over the Ragna Break Season 7 Girl on Fire event. There's been a lot of people that tune into my stream that had many questions about how Ragna works, so I wanted to make this video to answer their questions, as well as, give the information to all the new players that are coming into the game or returning players that didn't make it far enough to understand Ragnas. So the first thing that I want to touch on is Raid Story. Raid Story is a series of stages that will go over the narratives to kind of give you a little bit of information on the new units that are being added to the game. It kind of works their storyline into the Destiny Child universe so that you can understand how they came to be. Once Ragna starts, you definitely want to hit up the raid story first thing and progress through it so that you can 3-star all the stages and collect the rewards that there are. You get gold, summon tickets, gems. These are not the same every single time, but they rotate, and each reward is worth getting. Takes very little time investment. One of the things to note about the raid story is that if you're low on evolution gems, you can farm whatever Ragna boss type you are fighting against. You'll usually find that gem type in the raid story. And when you compare it to our normal story stages where you farm these gems, it is way cheaper to farm them during the raid story. So if you're low, get in there and get some. But honestly, I recommend you don't bother with it and save your stamina for hot time to spend in your normal story and level up your units if you're still working on leveling up units. The next thing that I wanted to go over is the raid shop. So on the top half of the raid shop, you get tiered rewards. You can look at the top what reward you're going to be able to claim at the end upon completing the tier. And the way it works is each tier you're going to have 4 items that you can purchase. Once you've purchased each item, you'll be able to claim the final reward for free. Once you've claimed the final reward, you'll be able to reset for free, taking you into the next tier. Each tier moving up, the items are going to be more expensive, but the rewards are going to be better. So definitely focus on getting these tier rewards as quickly as possible with your gems. On the bottom right, you'll see you have 3 to 5 star summon ticket and 3 to 5 equipment ticket. If you're just starting out, do not buy these. They reset every day. You get 5 purchases per day. And I don't recommend you purchase these because whatever Ragna coins you have left over at the end of the Ragna get converted into gold. And gold is king. You can never have too much gold in this game. And the value of that conversion is going to be better than purchasing these tickets overall. If you're absolutely just dead set on collecting more units, then okay, purchase the 3 to 5 star summon tickets, but just stay away from the equipment tickets for now. The raid reset ticket was added at the beginning of the game, so if you got too high on your Ragna level, you would be able to reset it back down to 1 so you could work your way back up. But the way Ragnas work now, there is never going to be a time where you want to reset back to 1. The next, the last item that we can talk about in here is the raid summon ticket. You get 5 tickets per day where you can summon the Ragna for free and immediately. Whenever you use a ticket to summon, it's going to bring it up the Ragna at the next level that you have not completed yet. You want to participate in your Ragna and do a minimum of, I want to say it's 5% or 10% damage, so that you can count, so it can count as completed, and then call for help so that it can be finished, and you will be able to do the next level of Ragna. Make sure that you are doing your 5 tickets every single day, because, taking us into our Ragna missions tab, inside of Ragna missions, you'll see that you have a couple of things that you have to complete in order to collect these rewards, such as join a level 40 raid boss battle 10 times, join a level 40 raid boss battle 20 times. One of these missions is to, well, a few of the missions are going to be to use 15 raid summon tickets, and another one is going to be use 20 raid summon battle tickets. And once you've completed the raid summon battle tickets, it's not as important to do your daily raid summons, but we'll touch on that in just a moment when we go to the raid list. Make sure that you try your best to complete as many of these missions as you can, because you will be able to get a free Ragna boss unit as a reward. These are usually pretty easy to accomplish, but they do take effort. You can't miss too many days of not logging on and still be able to get the reward. So focus on that and do the best you can. In order to do the best you can before you go into the Ragna, you could always look at the Ragna rank. Here you'll see the top 100 players, how much damage they've done, how long it has taken them to complete the stages, 3 minutes and 18 seconds to be able to defeat the enemy, 3 minutes 21 seconds. And if you click on any of their pictures or name, it'll bring up their team so that you can kind of get an idea as to what they are running. This person did a total of 5 million damage with a team of 5-star Chang, level 66 uncapped Chang, level 66 uncapped Newbie Mona, level 60 plus 6 Neptune, level 60 plus 6 Pantheon, and a level 56 5 uncap Dino. Dino being the new unit. Most, if not all of these teams are gonna have Dino. The top 100 players are people that have spent quite a bit of money trying to get the new units and uncapping them. So, if you're just starting out, you really won't be able to hit the top 100. But it can give you an idea as to which teams, which comp is performing very well during the Ragna. Slayer rank is something we're going to touch on right after we go to the raid list, but depending on how you perform in the Ragna, you'll get some bonus rewards depending on your rank. Slayer rank, however, you do not have to be in the top 100 to get Slayer rank rewards. You can be in a percentile. So definitely, once you've unlocked Slayer, you're going to want to focus on Slayer so that you can climb this ladder and get the best rewards you can get. Right now, you can see on the top right that I have 285,000 Slayer points, and those Slayer points have put me in the top 60%. I have not been participating very much because I've been trying to hold off and do this video so that I can demonstrate a few things, and it's made my team a little handicapped. I prepared my team too early for this video, but I'm looking to end possibly in the top 20%. We'll see how it goes though. Now, bringing us to the last subject inside of the Ragna screen is the raid list. Inside of the raid list, we have the Slayer raid up at the top right. You will not unlock Slayer raids until you have completed a level 40 Ragna from your own summons. Inside of the Slayer raid, you will get 3 battles that you can participate in that someone else has started, and then upon starting, they were not able to complete it, or they only wanted to attack one time, and they were able to call for help. So once they call for help, it goes into someone else's Slayer raid. When you participate in the Slayer raid, it is going to go towards today's Slayer count, which unlocks at 5, 10, 15, and 20 participations with the bronze, gold, silver, and platinum boxes. You want to make sure that once you've unlocked Slayer, you participate every single day and get those 20 battles in minimum. Inside of platinum boxes, you have, again, the opportunity to get the Ragna boss that the current event is on, the premium skin that goes to that Ragna boss, as well as random 5-star equipment and units, money. You can get all sorts of things from the platinum box. Absolutely worth investing your time into doing that. Every single day, you're going to have these boosters, 10 boosters per day that you can activate when you participate in Ragnas, and it will give you 200% the Ragna coin rewards. The best rule of thumb is to use a booster on your own Ragna instead of the Slayers. But, I mean, that's completely dependent on how much time you have to play. If you have enough time to summon 10 of your own Ragnas to use the boosters and participate in 20 Slayers, then that will be the best way to maximize your boosters. Otherwise, just make sure you're using those boosters on any level 40 boss, Slayer or your own. Underneath the booster tickets, you have the Ragna entry tickets. These reset every 30 minutes. You get a new ticket added to. You can purchase more for 1,000 gems, but unless you are going for those top tier rewards to try and get in the top 100, it is not going to be worth your time in purchasing extra Ragna tickets. Or the only other exception would be if it's last day of Ragna and you're only a few gems shy from getting that next tier reward that you really want, then by all means purchase and go for it. Underneath that, you've got the change order so that you can filter your friends' Ragnas however you want to see them. Quite frankly, I believe the default order is pretty good. I don't care to change it up. To the left of that, we have the refresh button. I am a huge fan of the refresh button because I typically end up doing my 20 Slayer raids, and then I do 10 of my own Ragnas so that I can use up all of my boosters. And then when I get up to 1 or 2 tickets, I just sit back and hold on, and I hit that refresh button every couple of minutes to see if any of my friends on the list have summoned a gold jelly. As you play, there are a couple of different level brackets where you have a chance of summoning a jelly, and upon completing that jelly, you will not only get Ragna coins, but you will have a chance to spin the wheel very much like you do in the gold dungeon and get lots of gold. Ragnas are an excellent time to build up your gold stockpile. So definitely take advantage of doing those gold jellies. But on that note, let's talk about common courtesy. In order to level up your own Ragna, you have to... In fact, while we talk about this, let's go ahead and summon a Ragna. Raid summon ticket, yes. Warning! We have summoned a regular level 40 Demeter. So let's start that fight. Right now, my team is not going to perform very well because I wasn't planning on doing this, and my team does not have all the best gear on. We're going to go over that in just a moment, so this might be bad. I'm not going to use a booster on this attempt because it will perform poorly, but it will give me a chance to show you how to call for help anyway. So let's do that attempt. I'm going to turn the volume down just a little. But the common courtesy for Ragnas is going to be while one of your friends or yourself is leveling up your own Ragna, you want to make sure that you attack your own Ragna first as soon as possible, because some of the people on your friends list are going to want to help you, and they're going to jump into that fight and help you defeat it. But if you summon a Ragna and you do not participate in that Ragna and it gets defeated, you do not get to move on to the next level of Ragna. So you basically, if you summoned a level 15 Ragna, your friends came in, defeated it before you got a chance to enter the fight, then on your next summon, it is going to be another level 15 Ragna. You have to do a minimum percent damage in order to complete it and go on to the next level. So when it comes to normal stage Ragnas, give your friends time to participate. Do not enter a 0 participation Ragna. However, when it comes to the gold jellies, there are low-level jellies and the level 40 jellies that give you gold. When one of those gets summoned, common courtesy goes out the window, and it's free game for everybody. You know, it's one of those unspoken things like, I'm here to help you, but if you summon a jelly, that's all mine. So if you see a jelly, jump on it, attack it, because you won't be the only one doing it. And the more people that attack that one jelly, the better, because everyone's going to get gold off of that attacked it. So, yeah. Now, I was thinking about talking about going over how to participate and how to properly fight during these Ragna bosses, but I will wait until we go into the min-max part of this video. So I'm going to speed this up for now. Just know we're going to go over it in a couple of minutes, but when you do a Ragna, you never want to be at 3 times speed. You always want to participate in these kind of events that your damage matters. Your damage is going to rank you at 1 time speed. Doesn't matter which device it is, because the animations are what hold you back from being able to do the maximum amount of damage. The animations in the game do not scale with the time scale of 2 times or 3 times speed. Alright, we completed a fight in the Ragna. When you complete a fight in the Ragna, you will have the opportunity to break again. And I do not recommend you do any breaking agains unless you have performed extremely well, or it is not a level 40 Ragna and you are trying to defeat the Ragna so that you can go on to the next level and try to get level 40. Aside from that, in the best way to get the most amount of coins during the event, and I know I'm saying Ragna a lot, but I feel like I kind of have to make sure we know what we're talking about, because there's so many different aspects to the game. But in order to get the most amount of Ragna coins during the event, you want to use 1 attack per boss that is summoned or per battle that you enter. You never want to have more than 1 attack per boss. Once you've completed the battle, you can also, aside from breaking again, you can look at your battle stats so you can see the breakdown of how your team did You can see the damage done, the damage taken, HP received, you know how much healing was going on. You can view the ranks, so if there's more than one person attacking the fight, you will be able to see where you landed amongst everybody that has entered the battle. If you go to raid list, you go back to that menu. If you click on retry, it'll take you right back into the battle menu. But now that we have done a battle and we did not complete it, we'll get these two buttons up at the top. One is for support and one is for call. When you summon a Ragna, these buttons will appear, but you cannot use them until you have at least attempted to fight your own Ragna one time. When you hit support, it's going to pop up a little notification on your friends' screens that are online up here saying so-and-so needs help. When you hit call, it's going to call for slayers, and it's going to bring up your Ragna in somebody else's window box in here. So now that we have called for slayers, let's see, what else were we going to go over? That was pretty much it. The only thing left to go over is how to min-max your team. Best case scenario is, we just went in and we did 830,000 damage. As we can see, Neko and QQ have already joined into the fight, so fire, no numbers, showing you that they are participating in the fight, and we'll get an update pretty soon as to how they perform. But you pick a team, you throw them into the fight, you see how they perform, and then what you want to look for is to see if someone died, and if so, who and why. You also want to make sure that once you've picked your team, the very next thing you're going to do is equip them with the best gear that you have. So if we go to the equipment side of things, go to items, view equipped, you'll see that right now currently I have removed all the equipment from every unit that I own except for my PvP team, or let's go here, except for my PvP team, the units that I'm leveling up, like this 52, the 57, 51, 57, these units I'm leveling up in story mode right now, so I gave them just some basic B class, not so good gear in order to get them to be able to complete the stages. And then the rest of my units I just gave a weapon to, so I can pull them up in this window. So what we are going to do is go one by one through our units and say, how can we squeeze the most amount of performance from each unit? And we're going to do that in the child window. Right now, and the goal of a Ragna is to deal the most amount of damage. From our team, Eve is going to be our main damage dealer. Going to look at her skills and say, actually, let's backtrack real quick. Before you go into making your team, and before you do anything at all in the Ragna, you're going to find out who is the Ragna boss. Now that we know who the Ragna boss is, it is Demeter. What you're going to do is go to the archive, click and find that unit, the boss that you're going up against, so that you can go to their skills and find out what are you actually going up against. Demeter's is going to have on her tab skill 75% chance to remove a buff. On her slide skill, prioritizing your lowest HP units, she's going to inflict Venom, which deals 200 dot damage every 2 seconds and reduces your recovery amount by 50%. and you are unable to cut or extend that debuff. When she drives, she's going to deal damage to 3 enemies, prioritizing enemies with venom. Then she will lower the defense by 30% on those 3 enemies, and a 90% chance to inflict Venom Amplifier, which will increase the dot damage of Venom. So the dot amplifier does not deal damage, but it does increase the damage if they already have Venom. If you put any wood units on your team, their defense is minus 15 against this boss, which kind of affects us because we have newbie Mona. You also can take this opportunity to find out what those new banner units skills are. Neptune is not new, but Dino is. And you can find out why Dino is performing so well during this Ragna. For one, her leader buff. Weak point skill final blow plus 10% for water type allies. And during raids, raids is specifically referring to Ragna raids. You get an added crit damage of 40% to self. Her tap skill deals damage and ignores defense on fire type enemies during raids, a bonus 500 damage to that fire type enemy. So you're looking at a bonus 1,000 damage on top of her base damage on the tap skill, which is going to be really good because if you don't already know, when your team fevers, it is the damage that gets dealt during fever is based off of the damage you do on a tap skill. Then Dino's slide skill, Fire Caution, deals damage and ignores defense to 3 enemies, prioritizing fire type with 600 bonus damage to fire types. Very good, but not as good as the tap skill bonus, in my opinion. Her drive skill deals damage to 4 enemies and grants Frenzy, and Frenzy gives plus 90% attack and invincibility, but upon dissipation has a 100% chance to stun for 5 seconds, which means once it goes away, Dino will be stunned for 5 seconds, and the Frenzy lasts for 20 seconds. That is extreme. Okay, you see? Crayon support request. Raid boss appeared. When you click on support on your own Ragna, that is what pops up. So if you use Dino's drive right before your fever, you're going to have a bonus 90% attack on top of her tap skill, on top of any other buff that you've given to Dino. So Dino is extremely powerful right now for this fire boss. So that kind of gives you an idea if you are wanting to spend your beautiful gems on summoning in these banners. Personally, I would, I like to save all of my gems for limited time only units, because the rest of these units, if they're permanently added into the game, you're going to get them eventually. Limited time units, once they're gone, they're gone. So you choose what you want with your gems. Now, back to the equipping your child. In this Ragna, Eve is going to be my heaviest damage dealer. So in order to get the most out of her, we're going to look at her skills and see. Deals damage to lowest defense and on fire targets deals bonus damage. The slide skill deals damage to 2 enemies, prioritizing lowest HP, and deals bonus damage. Also inflicts poison, which causes 1500 damage each time a target acts or takes damage for 3 turns. So Eve is going to deal a ton of poison damage. This is where you have to ask yourself, do you want her to have a higher chance of inflicting that poison, or do you want her to have a higher chance of critting with the tap skill or the slide skill? Which do you want more, poison or crit? I was going with crit because the quintessential flask, just the stats on this thing are nasty. They're so good. But let's switch that up real quick. And let's go with agility. We're going to run one test run, and then we're going to run a crit Eve to see what the difference is. And this is the whole point of min-maxing and trying to get the most out of your team. It's not a do this one thing and you're done. It's a you gotta play around with your equipment, find out which units you have, and find out which comp is going to be the best. Yes, there is a best team or two or three teams that are going to perform the best, but as far as you go, unless you have every single unit maxed out, the best thing you can do is to find out which units you have that are going to perform well enough together to get the most amount of damage out of it. So let's swap out that the flask for a halberd, which the halberd is an attack agility equipment. Why are we going with agility? In this game, agility determines the speed of your character as well as the chance to land debuffs and evade debuffs. So the higher your agility, the higher chance to inflict your enemy with an affliction is going to be. We want an agility team so that we can inflict poison as often as possible. Sadly, I do not have any equipment that is has agility on it. But what we do have is some alchemist gloves, which at level, what is that, level 9 is still better than a handful of pieces of gear at level 15. Oh, we don't have a wedding dress on, but that's fine. So let's go back to talking about the boss's abilities. One of the things that is extremely important to find out when you look at your boss's abilities is how do their abilities affect your units. The tap removes a buff, the slide skill inflicts a debuff, and something to note is debuffs bypass defense. Your defense will not negate any of this damage. Her drive is going to lower your defense. So if you stack defense so that her tap deals less damage, her debuff is going to lower your defense, and her dot is going to bypass it completely. So against Demeter, the best thing you can do is stack HP. So that way her dot damage doesn't go through it as much. So we're going to stack as much HP as we can, and these alchemist gloves are going to kind of be the best thing. Once I get them maxed out, they will be the best thing. We could go ahead and change out Jupiter's. Let's change out Jupiter's for those alchemist gloves. Oh, shenanigans. I left them on the other unit. And then So we go to accessories and we're stacking agility. So right now we've got HP agility on the hairpin. Let's find out if we've got a better version of agility. We do. We've got defense agility, but we only gain 10 agility and we're going to swap out defense for HP. So we can leave the HP on that one. Let's find out if we've got any other agility. We've got attack agility, which we're trying to maximize our attack. Attack agility it is. Lastly, for Soul Carta, we are trying to maximize our agility, but overall the damage that we do. And the new Soul Carta that was released increases slide skill crit damage by 4,100 in raids. This is going to be the best Soul Carta for our damage dealer for now. Next, let's go on to the next unit. How do you decide who's the next person to gear up the best? Usually, I run a practice run and see who deals the second highest amount of damage. And in this particular team, it's going to be Chang. Chang abilities are deals damage and charge slide skills, deal damage and charge slide skills, and then her drive stuns. So if we were going PvP with Chang, then we would want some agility to have a higher % chance to stun the enemy on her drive. But we're not. We are participating in the Ragna, and we want to deal as much damage as possible. So since she does not have a debuff that we care about, what we want on Chang is as much attack and crit as possible. So you can pick whichever item is your highest attack crit. In this case, it's going to be the flask. So let's give her a flask. We're going to give her the next highest HP defense piece of gear. For her accessory, we're going to go with attack and crit. For the Soul Carta, she is a water support unit. So we don't have any other cartas that will benefit water units specifically for Ragna. So the next best thing we can do is give her attack crit Soul Cartas. This one is attack crit to 18 and 1400. The only other one that I think would compete would be Matt. If she's dying, then we're gonna want to give her some more HP. If she's not dying, then we can stick with these Soul Cartas. STF gives her a little bit more. Move on to the next. We've got Newbie Mona. Newbie Mona's skills are Vampirism and weak point aid, skill charge acceleration. So nothing to really worry about there. We're going to give her attack crit. We're going to give her HP high. Accessory wise, attack crit. Soul Carta wise, we can go with attack crit as well. I believe we've got another STF over here. Equipped. Next, Pantheon. Pantheon gives out crit buff as well as crit damage buff. So nothing to really pay attention to there other than let's get his attack crit up. HP defense, attack crit, and then lastly, now for Pantheon, he is a dark support unit, and we do have a dark Ragna specific Soul Carta, attack agility, but it increases his critical attack damage by 6,600 in raids. Only effective for dark types. That's pretty huge, so give that to Pantheon. Last unit is our girl Neptune. Her skills grant healing up, skill gauge up, and double-edged sword. Her drive grants lifelink, which converts 50% of damage taken to recovery for 2 allies. She could heal if we drive with her, but we don't want to drive with her. So we're not going to worry about any of that. We want her to deal as much damage as possible. So she already has the broom. Give her HP high. For accessories, attack crit. For soul cartas, we don't have any soul cartas that are specific to Ragna raids that increase. If this was a world boss, we do have Seaside Goddess, which increases max attack by 1900 for world bosses. But we don't, so instead of attack agility, let's go with attack and crit. So now we've maximized all of our units to do as much attack crit, attack agility damage on Eve as possible. We picked our leader and we're going to leave it at Neptune. Now we can go back in to this Ragna and see how we perform. With no gear, we did 800,000 damage. And ooh, we got a random platinum box. Wish me luck, I want Calypso. Wish me luck, please give me Calypso, please. It's a 5-star. Party Star Medbee, not bad. I need another one. So I am not mad about it. But perfect example as to why I advocate. Get those platinum boxes. They are absolutely worth it. That makes the 4th or 5th 5-star unit that I've gotten out of a platinum box since this event happened. Alright, so first thing we're going to do, hop into this Slayer raid. And there's no jellies in here. And actually, let's refresh this page and check for jellies. No jellies. Now we can pick the highest HP, level 40 Ragna, hit that booster, and jump into it. Now, we had it set to 3 times speed on the last one, so we're going to bring this back down to 1. Full auto, and let's let the team do their worst. I'm going to mute my mic, but let this play out at real time. It's going to take 5 minutes. Yeah, you're right. I'm not going to play this out on real time. I'm going to edit this on the YouTube video so that we can speed through this at 3 times speed. But yeah, let's skip to the end. Okay, let's slow this down for a second. If you can pay attention to Koga's buffs over here, and the fact that Koga was the one that used her fever, for some reason Koga keeps getting double-edged sword instead of Eve, which means we are losing out on DPS because Koga is quote-unquote getting the highest attack over Eve, but Koga's tap was not meant for a fever. Therefore, we need to adjust our units on the next fight to make sure that Koga is not getting double-edged, and instead Eve is. And now here we have Mona has died already. So Mona cannot survive without giving her some more HP. So we're going to need to remove some crit and give her a little more HP or defense, depending on which pieces we have available. Alright, so first attempt with the new setup, we hit 1.7 million, but Koga was the one fevering instead of Eve. We had newbie Mona die halfway. We had the whole team die before the fight ended. There are a lot of things that we can improve on within that fight, just by observing and seeing who was getting what buffs, how, and when. So let's go back to the child edit menu so we can move some gear around. In the meantime, that one completed. Let's see if we get another platinum box. No. No jellies. Hit the refresh. Still no jellies. Okay. What about Slay Raid? Okay. Go back to child. And now, what we're going to do, we go in here and we find out that Eve's total attack was up to 9.7. Koga's attack, because of that flask, it was really giving her a huge bonus. So we need to get rid of the flask on her and give it to Eve to raise her attack a little bit higher. Make sure it's higher than Chang's. We had the pillowcase, which has 326. Let's see. The vampire box will raise her attack slightly higher. And we're going to leave the same soul carta there. Now we go to Chang. And we're going to give her the cute broom. And we can leave the vampire box for now. Hopefully that has adjusted it enough, but maybe not because of the soul carta. So we're going to have to readjust a few things momentarily to find out where else we can make some adjustments. Let's see. We really need to get some more fodder for this carta so we can max it out. It's going to be rough, but it's got to be done. And then, so we did Koga. Now we're going to go to newbie Mona. Newbie Mona did not survive. How can we change that? The easiest and first step is going to be to change her accessory and change it from attack crit to either HP attack or HP or defense attack. And we've got the solar music box, which could take place for HP attack. And I don't believe we have any defense attack items at the moment. Attack and defense, we've got these, but they're not leveled. So, solar box it is. HP attack. Then we can move over to Pantheon. Give him a slightly higher survivability. We're gonna do the same thing, except we don't have HP attack, so let's give him HP defense items. That's 255, 280, 300, 360. HP defense and HP defense on Neptune. And now we're going to go back in and see what happens. Going to fast forward this on the YouTube video. Gonna go ahead and mute myself now while we pay attention and see what happens this go round. Okay, so that round was not perfect, but much better. We went from 1.7 million to 2.2 million. You can see in the battle stats that Eve did quite a bit of damage over Chang, and if you were able to watch while the video was sped up, then you noticed that Double-Edged was definitely going to Eve. Everything was going according to plan except that Eve died early. Eve died early because she was not getting the vampire buff as often as she should have to keep her alive. Why was she not getting the vampire buff? Because it is prioritized to the lowest HP unit on the team, which means that Pantheon, Nubimona, and Neptune were all lower HP than Eve the majority of the fight. So when it came down to it, she was higher HP and wasn't getting the buff. So we need to make it to where these three survive a little bit better on their own so that the vampire buff can go to Eve. Since we just looked at the battle stats and they're not doing any damage. Neptune and Nubimona are not doing any damage at all. What does that mean for us? That means we can focus on, instead of trying to squeeze the most amount of damage out of them, we can squeeze the most amount of life out of them in order to help the rest of the team perform better. And we can do that by equipping them with the Spears of Destiny. The Spears of Divine Punishment right here are an HP attack piece of gear. They're the only piece of gear that I know of in the game at the moment that have HP on them. So, Spear of Destiny for you and Spear of Destiny for you, because that is, or off the top, an extra 369 HP. It's nothing crazy, but it's something. The next step that we can take is we gave her HP attack. Let's remove HP attack and go with HP defense. Although I don't think I have anything else HP defense wise. Except for the things that are not leveled. But 180 defense over 195. Nope, that's not better. So I guess all we can do is increase the amount of HP that she's gonna get. So that brings her HP another 60 higher. Is there anything else? The defense agility, that's only 369. Nope. And then soul carta wise, this is where we can make a big change. Because we can give her Dominus Duo. That increases her HP by 2,300, and it increases vampirism and absorb amounts. So, equipped that. And move over to Neptune, where she's got the spear, she's got the dress, she already has HP defense, and we're gonna swatch her soul carta from attack crit to something a little more fitting, like the HP attack carta we were talking about earlier. Secondly, Pantheon. I don't want to change anything from Pantheon just yet. Let's go back into the fight with these newly changed items. And the other thing I'm gonna try to do to find out how can we improve, since this soul card is not maxed out to give us the full amount of stats from it. How good is this 4,100 on a unit that is going to be using her fever, when the attack bonus is only 960, when we could be getting 1,800, and that would affect fever. So this round we're gonna run it. Next round we're gonna switch soul cartas. Let's find out. Hit that refresh one time. No jellies. Slayer raid, no jellies. Let's get into it. Going back to mute, fast forwarding the fight. Let's go. So we went back down, but I don't feel like the damage reduction is due to removing the attack power as much as it was from the fact that Koga kept getting um, double-edged sword instead of Eve this round. We are going to make some adjustments right after we attack this jelly. Platinum box, let's go. Give me the 5-star Calypso. Ah, shenanigans. These are jellies. Oh man, I was so slow on that. These guys aren't even done attacking it, but it's already dead. Man, I'm telling you, those jellies, they go so fast. If you're not on top of it, you're not gonna get to participate. So, adjustments that need to be made. Why did Koga still get it? We don't know. Neptune's double edge. Who gets it? Highest attack priority ally gets double edged. So let's unequipped so we can give that Carta to. Is there a different one? Is STF the highest attack crit one? Or is the. Yeah. And then we can give Koga that Carta for now. And this team is going to perform much better once we take over and start manualing it. Because once we take over and start doing manual, we're going to tap and then slide. I mean, technically, we're going to start off and we're going to slide and then tap until double-edged wears off. With Pantheon, we're going to tap and then slide. Or no, we're only going to slide with Pantheon. With Newbie Mona, we're only going to tap while until everyone has Vampire, and then if everyone is pretty good on health, we're going to slide. With Koga, we are going to slide only. And then with Eve, we're going to slide to inflict poison and then only tap. And that should like boost the damage that we're going to do by a lot. Oh, another jelly. And hello there, everyone. We are now a couple of days past the first part of this video. After the game crashed, the jelly, you know, I didn't get any rewards for it, and then we kept going into trial and error. And really, the rest of the video was more of the same that we were doing. Trial, move gear around, trial, move gear around. And I am now recording this ending so that I could show the few changes that I've done and how I've gone from the original 800,000 damage to 3.2 million. This is my new max damage at the moment, and we did so by changing a couple of soul cartas around for the last couple days. Since recording the original video, I've been averaging 2.5, 2.6, 2.8 was my highest. But right now, before this last attempt, we swapped around soul cartas because I was satisfied with 2.5, 2.7, and I didn't really do a whole lot of changes after that. But while editing this video, I realized that my team kept dying, you know, about a minute before the fight was over. Sometimes 30 seconds, but, you know, some 30 seconds could be a whole lot of damage. So, from that last video, the changes we've done, we went ahead and 6-starred Neptune, but we are not feeding or focusing on leveling her up. We just wanted to go ahead and 6-star because we knew we're going to use her in the future, so we did that. And we changed the soul cartas from HP attacks, 2 HP defense on Neptune. We have the Dominus Duo still on Nubimona, and we switched Pantheons from the offensive Carta that helps do the 6,600 bonus damage to Showtime, which is an HP defense Carta that also gives debuff evasion, which helps tremendously with their survivability. I didn't really have anything else to add at the end of the video, so all I can say now is thanks for watching. I know it's a super long video. If you stuck around for the whole thing, thank you. I really appreciate it. If you want to talk Destiny Child or just hang out while we both do what we can during Ragnas, you can find me on Twitch. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel so that we can keep making more Destiny Child content. Please look forward to more videos from me. I will be making much shorter videos on certain game features, but as events roll out, I'm gonna do my best to record, edit, and upload as quickly as possible. And we'll see you there, guys. Peaches.